Thank you very much for the introduction and for joining us today. Hope the Sapphire is going well. Today's presentation is on improving outcomes for SAP technical change management. I like to differentiate because there's two definitions I've seen over the years of SAP change management. The technical change management, which is what we do as a company, which is the transports themselves, right? Then there's organizational change management, which is a very important thing to do. Training people, getting them onboarded, getting them to adopt the software, but that's not what we do. So this is all about the technical change management. I wanted to thank SUSE for hosting us today. SUSE for hosting us today. It's our second part of the booth. We love the booth, a lot of activity here. And in addition to providing SAP solutions for customers, which our companies do, we both focus on improving business outcomes for those customers, right? And SUSE has a score in the G2 crowdsourcing software site. It looks like my laptop number 5 is missing. They have a 4.7 out of 5 in the G2 crowdsourcing, which is a Gartner website measuring satisfaction to the number 1 in their field. And then Rev-Trac has an NPS score, which is called a Net Promoter Score. It's what people recommend your software. And we have a score of 65, which we're proud of. We're always trying to improve that, which is about 3 times the industry average. So it says a little bit about our company. Hopefully this will work. There we go. So in SAP technical change management, I've been in this space for about 13 years or so, and I've probably spoken to 1,400 customers about SAP changes. It gets boring after a while, but it's what I've chosen to do. And they all do things differently. I think if you have anything to do with transports, that you know you do things a little bit differently. But it boils down to 5 key outcomes. I'm eating the microphone. That many of the customers are always trying to improve upon, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So it's improving the velocity of the changes, the volume of the changes, along with the quality of the changes, while reducing cost and effort at the same time. So that's what we're going to spend some time on today. So first, increasing velocity. Has anyone been dealing with Agile in their environments today? Agile is very much about speed, right? Speed to the changes that you need to deliver to the business. So that's a big topic today. And velocity is very simple. It's just delivering the changes to the business at a faster pace. Because if you ask the business users when they want that change, what do they say? It's yesterday. Not next week or next month, next release cycle, it's yesterday. So that's a big factor today, is velocity. And really how you measure that is you measure the length of time from the initial development in your dev systems through your quality systems into production. So a very easy way to measure those velocity changes. And it really just provides faster time to value for the business users in those changes. You can tell if you have a velocity problem if you have change approval board meetings or change control board meetings that you might go to or people on your teams might go to. And they say it takes longer to document and do the paperwork, even though it might be digital paperwork with the change, than to actually do the change. Then you know you have a velocity problem. The flip side of the velocity coin is volume, right? There's just an avalanche of volume coming at people from an SAP change perspective, the technical changes, and people need to deliver those changes in a shorter time period, okay, or a larger amount of changes, I should say, in a given time period. It's, again, a pretty easy one to track. You can track that by measuring the number of changes over time. You just have to know. It's amazing to me that we work with so many different companies, many of the largest in the world, and you ask them, how many changes did you do last month, last quarter, last year, and people can't really answer that. So you just need to do some homework and get that information. And then what you're going to be able to do, if you can increase the volume of change, what's the value of that, right? What's the impact of that? The impact is that you're able to deliver more releases to the business. If the business said that you always have more projects to do than you have time to do them, right? So if you can go back and say, well, we can do 10 projects this year, whereas last year we did 5, it's a big win for everybody involved, right? So that's the volume side of things. You can't increase volume and velocity and have the quality go down, right? Some of my colleagues call it a build and chuck approach. You build it and you throw it over the fence, and that doesn't really work, right? So what you need to do is you need to make sure that your quality keeps up with the volume and velocity that you're going on. And this one's a little bit harder to manage and to track because you need to take some time and manage your defects. Okay, the defects. You build it, you test it, and you need to rework it. So you need to have those metrics in place, and there's a big value to this in that there's a pretty common standard for the cost of creating changes in development would be X. If you fix that change in quality, it's 7X. If you fix that change in production, it's 7 more that. So it's a lot more expensive to do that over time. So volume, velocity, quality are 3 outcomes that we're constantly working on with customers. Another one is the reducing cost size of things, right? Because there is a cost to all the paperwork, all the applications that you're using to manage these changes, the tracking of the approvals, however you might be doing it. And this really, you just need to find a way to manage or to calculate that cost of change. But where do you start, right? So our company Rev-Trac, so you can find it at www.rev-trac.com. We have a simple cost calculator, and it only really takes 3 inputs to get you an estimate of your cost of change. Okay, those 3 inputs are the number of transports that you do on a monthly basis, which most people can at least estimate, maybe 200, 300, 400 come out. We know it's lumpy, right? Sometimes you'll have a whole bunch going in with a project or a release, and sometimes it'll slow down over time. So you need to come up with that. The other 2 factors that you need to look at is your landscape complexity. When I say SAP landscapes, I mean how many systems do you have in your path, right? Some are very simple, dev, quality, production. Some have much more elaborate environments where you might have multiple development systems all merging into a single production system. And then really what that enables you to do is that once you understand what those costs are, then you're trying to find a way to reduce the cost, right? And that's what our software does through automation. And it helps you free up the IT spend, shifting it on the 70 or 80 or 90% that you're doing every day to innovation projects that you can have in the future. And the last one is probably everyone's favorite, is just reducing the risk of SAP production issues. All right, no one wants to have a production incident with your SAP systems due to transport activities, so you need to manage that risk and reduce that risk, and it just makes everyone happier along the way. We've all heard the phrase in real estate, it's all location, location, location. If you put it in the right spot, the restaurant, you're going to have great sales. If you have the right retail store, same thing. If you buy the house at the beach, it's 3 times the price of the one a few miles away. In SAP Change Management, we like to say it's all about automation, automation, and automation. Right? You need to automate the manual tasks that people are doing on a daily basis. Right? We've documented, I won't go through them today, but we've documented over 100 different manual tasks that we see our customers do that can be automated with the Rev-Trac change management software. Okay. Our booth, by the way, is just around the corner where you can get, in addition to your chameleon, our little platypus dolls to go with it. And so we don't have a demonstration today, of course, for this session. But what we do have is just, we're trying to explain what Rev-Trac does and where it fits in with the rest of your processes with this slide, which has been very helpful for us at shows like these. So everything starts with the need for a change, right? And that might be captured in an ITSM tool or something like that. And you have some type of documentation associated with that before you even start the development in the dev system. And then you'll have some steps along the way. And this is what Rev-Trac is doing. We have a process in place for the different types of changes. You might have unit testing, you might have impact analysis, automated code review steps that you want to do, you're doing now or you want to do in the future, and you need to integrate that as these things move from development to quality to production. And again, this is a simple example, but you can see, you can imagine in your environment it might be a little bit more complex. And then what we're showing with all the integrations, these blue arrows, is just an open integration to other solutions that customers might be using today. Right, so many customers want to do an automatic code review step, such as ABAP Test Cockpit, which is part of the Solution Manager suite. But how do you get people to do it? Well, if you integrate it with the software and it's just part of the automated process where it sends the payload of the transport to that code review step and gets the results back, you don't have to worry about people skipping those steps, right? Because the tools are handling it for you. Same with automated testing or impact analysis and so on and so forth. So our strategy is we just have an open integration with these other software components that customers might be using in their, what we call the SAP Devops tool chain. Oh, I didn't say anything about other than the platypus, so not myself, but we're an Australian company. We're based in Melbourne, Australia. We've been at this for almost 20 years, and we are just 100% focused on that niche within a niche of SAP transport management and change management. Our two products are Rev-Trac, which you've seen up all here, and Rev-Trac Insights, which is an offshoot of the same product. They live inside of SAP, inside your SAP environments, and they just install as normal transports. So it's very easy to get up and running. And then a little bit about why Rev-Trac. Again, we're 100% focused. We don't do anything else other than SAP technical change management. And then when a customer becomes a Rev-Trac customer, it's all in one, right? We don't come back and say this feature or these feature sets cost extra. All of our customers get all of our features that are there today and in the future. We'll be talking about significantly improving those outcomes in many key areas, the volume, velocity, quality, while reducing risk and cost. And a big thing that differentiates us a lot from many of the solutions that are out there, it's a quick time to value. It's something that can get up and running in generally just a few weeks. If you're a very large environment, that might be extended to 2 months or something like that. So our customer profile, we have about 5,000 SAP systems where Rev-Trac is installed across our customer base, which is around the world, and 65,000 users. And here is our last one in terms of producing the outcomes. This was sort of fitting with one of the themes of this week's show, which is customer experience, right? So we're always in touch with our customers. We're doing surveys with, this is a division of SurveyMonkey, I think, Tech Validate, and we're asking them, how did we help improve your SAP change management processes? And we're always trying to improve these. So it's very small, so I'll read those from the back. Reducing manual effort. That was the one, the bigger the circle, the more impact we've had. And it's strongly agree and moderately agree. So we're able to do a good job with reducing the manual effort, reducing the times on the audit tasks, which I didn't bring up before because SAP audits can be a pain for internal and external groups. Reducing the production errors, which we did talk about before. If you're doing retrofits, which is when you have a production support environment and then N+1 or project environments, we're a big help in automating the retrofit effort and eliminating the manual aspects of that. And then there we have the volume, velocity, and then in a little bit on a smaller degree, just helping you realize more value out of your SAP solutions in general, because you don't have to worry about the change control aspects of things. The tool takes care of itself. So, and I think that was it. That was it. I don't know how we're doing for time.
All right, perfect. Let's give him a big hand, okay? But do it like he's Lady Gaga. I mean, let's just give him a hand like, wow, you just heard Lady Gaga.